Welcome to War Bios, the podcast where we delve into the most pivotal conflicts in history, and I'm your host, General Biography. Today, we're going to explore one of the most significant battles of the American Civil War, the Battle of Perryville, fought on October 8, 1862. This clash of arms was a crucial turning point in the war's Western theater, and its outcome would have far-reaching consequences for both the Union and Confederacy. The Bluegrass State, with its rich agricultural lands and strategic location, was a prized target for both sides. Bragg's army, comprising over 30,000 troops, marched north from Chattanooga, Tennessee, aiming to capture the city of Louisville and secure a vital foothold in the north. The Confederates hoped to sway Kentucky's neutral stance and gain control of the Ohio River, which would provide them with a crucial transportation route and access to the border states. The countryside of Kentucky was dotted with rolling hills, wooded areas, and fertile farmland, which would provide a challenging terrain for both armies to navigate. The state's geography played a significant role in the battle, as the Confederates sought to utilize the rugged landscape to their advantage. On July 17, 1862, Bragg's forces crossed into Kentucky at Cumberland Gap, marking the beginning of the invasion. As Bragg's army advanced, they encountered resistance from Union forces led by General Don Carlos Buell. Buell's Army of the Ohio was tasked with defending Kentucky and driving the Confederates out of the state. The two armies engaged in a series of skirmishes and battles, including the Battle of Richmond, which took place on August 29–30, 1862. Although the Confederates emerged victorious at Richmond, they suffered significant casualties, which would ultimately hinder their ability to achieve their strategic objectives. On October 1, 1862, Bragg's forces occupied the town of Bardstown, just 40 miles southeast of Louisville. Buell's Union forces were closing in on the Confederates, and the two armies were on a collision course. In the days leading up to the battle, both armies were engaged in intense preparations. The Confederates were busy fortifying their positions, while the Union forces were conducting reconnaissance missions to gather intelligence on the enemy's strength and disposition. On October 7, 1862, the day before the battle, a group of Confederate soldiers clashed with a Union cavalry patrol near the town of Macville, just a few miles from Perryville. This skirmish was a harbinger of the intense fighting that would soon erupt. The battle began at dawn, with Confederate forces under General Braxton Bragg launching a series of attacks against the Union Army of the Ohio, led by General Don Carlos Buell. The Confederates, numbering around 16,000 troops, were determined to drive the Union forces out of Kentucky and secure a crucial victory in the Western theater. As the fighting intensified, the landscape around Perryville became a chaotic and deadly battleground. The rolling hills, wooded areas, and fertile farmland that had once been so picturesque were now scarred by the horrors of war. The air was filled with the thunder of artillery, the rattle of musketry, and the cries of the wounded. One of the most pivotal moments in the battle came when the Union forces launched a counterattack against the Confederate center. Led by General Philip Sheridan, the Union troops charged forward with bayonets fixed, determined to break through the Confederate lines. The fighting was fierce and intense, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. As General Bragg later recalled, the enemy's artillery fire was so severe that it seemed to cut our men down like wheat before a reaper. Despite being outnumbered, the Confederates held their ground, but at great cost. The Union forces, on the other hand, had gained a crucial advantage and were now poised to deliver the decisive blow. As the day wore on, the battle raged across multiple fronts, with both sides trading blows and counterattacks. The Confederate forces, however, were beginning to falter, their lines weakened by the relentless Union pressure. By late afternoon, it was clear that the Confederates were in full retreat, leaving behind a trail of dead and wounded. The Battle of Perryville was one of the bloodiest battles of the American Civil War, with over 7,600 casualties on both sides. Although the Confederates had suffered a crushing defeat, they would regroup and continue to fight on, determined to achieve their strategic objectives. The Union forces, on the other hand, had secured a vital victory, one that would help turn the tide of the war in the Western theater. As General Buell later noted, the battle was a severe and bloody one, but it was a necessary step towards the ultimate defeat of the Confederacy. The Battle of Perryville marked a significant turning point in the war, as it halted the Confederate advance into Kentucky and forced General Braxton Bragg to retreat back into Tennessee. The Union victory, although costly, had secured a crucial advantage in the Western theater, paving the way for future successes. In the months following the battle, the Confederacy struggled to recover from the loss of men and momentum. The defeat at Perryville, combined with the failure of the Confederate invasion of Maryland, marked a significant shift in the balance of power between the Union and the Confederacy. As General Robert E. Lee later noted, the loss of Kentucky was a severe blow to our cause and one from which we never fully recovered. The Battle of Perryville also had a profound impact on the soldiers who fought in it. The brutality and intensity of the conflict left an indelible mark on those who experienced it. As one Union soldier recalled, "The sights and sounds of that day are forever etched in my memory, a reminder of the horrors of war and the sacrifices made by so many." In the years following the battle, the town of Perryville became a symbol of the devastating consequences of war. The battlefield, once a picturesque landscape of rolling hills and fertile farmland, was now scarred by the remnants of conflict. The town itself was left to pick up the pieces, struggling to rebuild and recover from the trauma inflicted upon it. Today, the Battle of Perryville is remembered as one of the bloodiest and most pivotal conflicts of the American Civil War. The bravery and sacrifice of the soldiers who fought on both sides are honored at the Perryville Battlefield State Historic Site, which preserves the legacy of this epic clash. The legacy of this battle continues to be felt today, serving as a powerful reminder of the devastating consequences of war and the importance of preserving our history for future generations. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.